It's been a while since you last saw them. What have you been up to recently?
Well, I mean, we have been traveling a lot, a little bit too much probably. Yeah, we're doing like an event pretty much every other weekend, but most recently, me, my wife, and my friends finally got to go to the Ren Fair. I know that's not voiceover related, but it was so nice to do like a normal person thing, and I bought a cloak. That was my real. That's my recent big happening in my life. I'm trying to find an outfit to where I can just validate wearing a cloak around Burbank, California. So if you have any ideas, please tweet at me.
Can you share any insights into your process for preparing to voice a character?
Let's see. Disassociate in the shower. No. Yeah. So. Basically, I took theater my entire life, and I have a foundational kind of thing in that's where my training lies, basically. So I come at voiceover jobs like I would for a lot of theater stuff, where it's like you start with yourself, and then aspects of the character you put on like costume pieces, right? But at the very core of the character, there is something still within you that you can share with the audience, because if you try to step into a character like completely 100%, like I don't think anyone can completely desync their brain and become another person. It's very difficult to have the audience feel something real when you do that, right? It's always far more effective to share pieces of you that you relate or empathize with the character you're playing. That way, because we're all herd animals or social animals, you can help the person across the screen feel what you're feeling. Like, we've all done that. You've probably felt your friend whenever they're sad, you become sad. And when your friend is like upset, you become upset. That's really the foundational thing an actor has to get across when they're performing, right? And when you try to lose yourself completely in a completely different person, it becomes harder to do that. So I always like to have a core aspect of myself. Even if the character is wildly different from me, I want to find 1 to 2 to 3 things that are similar that I can help portray.
How do you maintain versatility and keep your performances fresh across different projects?
So it's more about the storytelling and the emotions than it is about the quality of voice, right? A lot of actors, when you hear them in all these various shows, they're gonna the vocal quality is basically the same, right? But it's their ability to feel different emotions and have you feel different emotions that changes from a character to character. Their ability to to display and to prioritize what differentiates each of these characters from each other, whether it be personality quirks, whether it be their personal history, whether it be how they feel about very specific subjects. Like, for example, we have Johnny Yambash, right? One of the most prolific, talented actors in the entire industry. Like, if you just listen for the quality of his voice from role to role, it's fairly similar, right? However, the character that he brings to them, for example, like if you're listening to him in Code Geass versus him in Trigun, right? 2 completely different people sharing the exact same voice, right? That's how voice actors keep their versatility. It's just storytelling ability and emotional resonance.
In what ways has your Chinese cultural background informed your performance and your perception of Jinshi in the Apothecary Diaries?
Well, so we do have, first of all, Apothecary Diaries is such a beautiful show. Like, it is so beautiful. Someone puts so much love into that show. It's one of my favorite things I've ever worked on. We do have a number of, that show brings forth a lot of Chinese names and words and stuff like that. And so it was important to us on staff to have folks who were familiar with how to pronounce those things and have a perspective on the cultural importance of those words. So I think it's nice that a few of us on staff that have that kind of viewpoint on it. And it makes the experience just a little more, a little more real, a little more, natural, a little more the way it might have would have been like back in the day, right? Emmy, who was the lead Mao Mao, She brings so much that aspect. She's way better at the language than I am. So whenever we have like a pronunciation guide, it's always Emmy's voice on the other side, like telling us how to pronounce something, you know. And she's just like, "KG is pronounced like this, you dummy." So yeah. So a lot of that is like really, really important to the show.
In recent years, there's been more consciousness over DEIA, diversity, equality, inclusion, and accessibility in voice acting. How do you feel the industry is improving in these areas?
Well, I mean, you know, it makes a lot of sense for a lot of these stories, right? We have actors who have lived the lives of some of these stories that we've been telling. And in order for good storytelling to occur, actors should, in the best case scenario, optimally, right, have a strong resonance with the story of these characters. And on paper, logically, it makes complete sense to have an actor who has lived those stories, who is familiar with that emotion and energy, to step into these roles. You know, not. You know, I know, you know, the authentic casting thing, you know, a lot of people look at it, it's like, well, you want this person of this race to be a character of this race. That's like the shallow version, right? What's underneath is that person has that lived experience and is more optimally able to bring a real perspective and viewpoint to these characters. And I think that's the most important part of all this. I think the rest of it gets lost in the, you know, whatever media shuffle, but that from an acting perspective is so valuable. It's hard to argue against. In my mind, it's hard to argue against that kind of leverage an actor like that would bring to the role.
What's a lesser-known fact about you fans might be surprised to learn? It mentioned that their viewers loved it when you shared the story about you crying last year. Is there anything new that you can indulge us with?
Let's see. Things that people don't know about me. I guess, I don't know. I feel like I share pretty much everything about my life on Twitter, which, to the detriment of my wife, who's sitting in the room right now. Let's see. Things that people don't know about me. I'm a prolific Magic the Gathering player. I've played since the beginning, basically. I used to play D&D all the time. Unfortunately, the traveling has taken a bite out of that. I used to do D&D shows for Wizards of the Coast, Dark and Dicey, all the shows like that. What else? I like really interesting and bizarre food combinations. You know, I'm sure people who are familiar with my work already know that. I tweet about Coke milk all the time. Mexican food burritos, delicious. What else? Honey, what do people not know about me?
Oh, I don't know if you want me to answer that.
Well, that should answer your question. Yeah. I can't think of
No,
anything.
you're pretty open. You're pretty open.
Yeah, I am a real open on Twitter. I share basically everything.
Yeah, I like it genuinely. I don't think there's a whole lot people don't know about you.
Man, yeah, I can't even think of one thing that I haven't tweeted about, to be honest. Okay, here's one thing. My favorite genre of video game. I play fighting games all the time. However, if you sit me in front of like Civilization 6, I will literally spend 14 hours in front of the screen without getting up. I will. Like, I will blink and the entire day will have gone by. So it's very easy to enrapture me in grand strategy games. Like, I simply will blink. So if you need to capture me under like a box or something like that, just put a laptop with like Civ 6 under there, I'll be under there. Yeah.
You made a tweet in January joking that people should now refer to you as, quote, the wretched spawn of Loki.
Yes.
And that you'll be signing everything as such from now on.
Yeah.
Have you actually followed through with this?
No one has asked for it, unfortunately. So if anyone sees this and you come up to my table, if you ask me to sign as the wretched spawn of Loki, it's on my Wikipedia now. Someone put it up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? And it's still up there. It's literally unchanged. It's like a permanent fixture now. So, hey, if you want me to sign your Funko Pop as the wretched spawn of Loki, I am happy to do so.
Next time I want your sessions, I'll get to do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
You mentioned before that voice acting for anime is consistently the hardest and lowest paid jobs you do, and that anime dubs are for fun, not to eat.
Mm-hmm.
What can be done in the industry to make this a more sustainable career?
That is the magic question, isn't it? Yeah. No one seems to be willing to pay higher for anime dubs. It's for whatever reason in the acting industry, it's getting a little. The perception on it is getting a little better. The pay, however, is not, right. As far as Hollywood is concerned, and maybe even SAG is concerned, dubbing is just like the little stepchild in the corner that no one really cares about. It's like we're all busy fawning over the movie stars and all that stuff, and getting them their bonuses and all that stuff. So, I tell folks, there are so many people passionate about anime who want to voice anime, but it is important that you keep your expectations realistic. You are going to be paid so little. It's outlandish in my opinion. All right. When I've seen so many actors come from screen, come from everywhere else, step into the booth and try to dub for the first time, and they're like, what is happening? How do I even act in between these little flaps, right? How do you even tell this story when you are constrained from every angle? It is literally acting with weights on. Literally acting with weights on. And if you are not trained to do it, it's like an alien-like activity, all right? And something so technically demanding really deserves a pay bump, right? It's like I'm trying to find like a parallel in life. It's like being paid to sit and podcast for 2 hours, right? And just give your opinion and being paid for it, versus fixing a computer, right? You should be paid more for one thing than the other, in my mind. That's all I'm going to say.
Mentioned that there was some frustration in the voice acting community because SAG-AFTRA signed a deal with AI to do digital replicas of actors' voices. What needs to be done for SAG to better listen to, reflect, and fight for the interests of voice actors?
Oh my God. We don't have enough hours. Oh man, you know what's so funny? We've had really passionate people in the voiceover community bring all these concerns to all the SAG meetings. You know what we were told? We recognize that voiceover actors are on the front lines of the danger zone of the AI era. But we should wait to see what happens. And then when we complained, we were called low-level, what was it, honey? Low-level,
I don't remember. It was
low-level people,
Yeah.
right? Yeah. That was interesting. So, SAG, if you're seeing this video, do better, okay? That's all I'm going to say. Do better. Oh my God.